Alright folks, the day is finally here and I'm putting together my So Sweet Puzzle Mystery Quilt from Cotton Cuts. I am so excited. We've been waiting for this for 10 months. This is clue number 10 and basically this is how to put the whole thing together. You can see I've already started here. I still have my color card, which I'm going to need because I noticed I looked forward a little bit to see what we have to do and I was like, oh yeah, I'm glad I still have that color card. I'm also really glad that I labeled the pieces because you definitely go by those sections that we did each month. And last but not least, here is my clue. Let me put this down. And I'm not going to open this on screen, well, I'll open it in a minute, but this has everything you need to know. Labeled, see, clue number 10. Has the fabric. It also has binding fabric in it, so you'll be good to go with that. It also has a wonderful tape measure, which I'm going to need later. I was reading the instructions, and you do need a tape measure for this. I printed out the pattern, and I'm ready to go. I'm going to start with the center section, which is step number 1. There are a whole bunch of steps in that, but I'm going to get started now. We're going to start sewing. This should not take a super long time. Again, I am doing the small version of the churro colorway, and this is the So Sweet Puzzle Mystery Quilt by Cotton Cuts. The first section I'm doing, it says it's step number 1. I'm joining sections 3A and 3B. And this is how they're going to look when they're sewn together, and you're going to do that 2 times. So you're going to see me a lot. I need my design wall for this. I need a little bit more space. I'm going to switch the camera and then show you how I sew it together. Not a big deal. We're just going to keep with that 1/4 inch seam allowance that we used. In this case, I'll be pinning a lot this time. I know I've said before I don't like pinning a lot, but for this you definitely want to pin. So again, the first thing we're going to do is sew together sections 3A and 8A. Alright, here we go. Here's the first 2 sections done. This is step number 1. And when I sewed, this is 3A, this is 8A. You're going to press towards 3A on both of these. And when you look how it's placed, you're going to reverse this one. Here's how they would look when they're sewn. But to sew them together for the next step, for step number 2, put my glasses down because I don't need them right now. You're going to flip that over. So 3A, 8A section, this would be 3A section, and this will be 8A section. And we're just going to join it there, and again, pin at all of those seams. Alright, so here it is. It was all sewn together. We're pressing down towards the bottom. And now we're going to add section 6, and like I said, I labeled these along the way. It's been immensely helpful, so I hope you did too. Okay, so I put the label away, and now we're going to add these, and it looks like from the diagram, from the pattern, let's see. We are going to add one to the left and one to the right, and we're going to press towards this section 6. So let me add those. It's coming together. There we go. Those are my section 6s, and you're adding one to the left, one to the right, and then we're going to press towards section 6 on both sides. So I'm going to do that. Alrighty, so here this is step number 3 in the instructions. I've sewn a number 6, section 6 to each side of that center unit, press towards 6. This is how it's going to look. Now from the instructions, it looks like we actually set this aside for a little bit, so I'm going to take this down and get ready for the next section. Alright, so for step number 4, we're joining a section 5, the step number 5 that we did. We're going to join that to the left side of a section 9. So once it's pressed, it's going to look like that, and you're going to do that 4 times. So again, this is section 5, and this is section 9. And you want to pin at all those seams. We're just going to keep on going until this is all put together. Alright, so here's step number 4 of putting it all together, and now we're on to step number 5. I did 4 of these units. I'm just going to show you one right now because I'm getting ready to lay out the next section, which is step number 5. Okay, so for step number 5, you need section number 1 plus 2 of the units that we just made in step number 4. And we're going to lay them out. We're going to lay them out as follows. Just going to check my pattern to make sure. Yep, there's section 1 in the middle. I have that little sort of arrow pointing up. And then here's one of the section that I just made in step number 4 to the left. And I have these big, bold, in my case, the green triangles. I don't know what color they're going to be in yours, on each side. And they're going to be sort of up and to the left. So you're going to add one to each side. And you are going to press towards, looks like you press towards the center on this one. So I'm going to do that. And you're actually going to do this 2 times. Because if you remember, we did 4 of these. So we have one other section 1. So we're going to do this section 2 times. Alright, so here we go. Here are the 2 sections I just made, excuse me. Love the way this is coming together. I'm getting really excited. It's always fun doing mystery quilts. I can't explain that enough. I just love a good mystery quilt. And I love a good mystery book, and a movie too. But anyway, we're going to get that first section we made, and we're going to start putting the center part of the quilt together. So, let's see. This pattern is, I love the way this is written. It's so helpful. And pardon my back, I don't mean to put my back to you, but it's the only way I can hang this up. Alright, there it is. This is the center section. Isn't that pretty? I can see it on, I have a monitor here, so I can see it on that. The colors just pop. I may have forgotten at the beginning of the video, I chose Bookish. I chose the Churro colorway, and this fabric is by Sharon Holland. It's called Bookish, and she designed it for Art Gallery Fabrics. Absolutely in love with this. It's not a colorway I've done very often, so to see it coming together is just really exciting. But enough of my excitement. Now we're going to join these together. We're going to join this one to the top. This is the section we just made, and then I flipped one over, and I'm going to add one to the bottom. Lots and lots of pinning here. You want to pin at every single seam so you get those nice sharp points. And then when we come back, we're going to add a little border around the center section. Alrighty, so here's my center section. Came together beautifully. Everything fit, everything matches. The next thing we're doing is step number 7, which is adding some inner borders. And they have a real nice tip section on here. These were in this month's pack. These are the borders. I'm using, it's fabric A in this case, in my case. And then we're adding squares, let me just show you these, of fabric F to each end. However, big however here, they cut them long for you so you have a little bit of wiggle room. So they suggest, or they tell you to, measure vertically from this in the center, and they said it should be approximately 32.5 inches, and that's what you're going to cut your strip A's to. So don't cut these before you measure, and definitely measure before you add those corner squares. And the handy thing is they gave us this great tape measure, so I can use this. So mine comes out to about 32 inches, like 32 and a quarter. Let me see what it does. I'm going to just check it vertically too. You know what? I just realized I didn't measure from the zero, I measured from before that. So scratch that. Mine does measure 32.5 inches. Well, that would have been good if I cut them too short, wouldn't it have been? Let me just do it one more time. So you're going to start at the 0 on your measuring tape, bring it down, and yes, indeed, it is 32.5 inches. So I'm going to cut those strip A's, 32.5 inches long, and then add on each end one of those squares of F. So I just reread this again because it wasn't making a little bit of sense to me. You are going to cut them all 32.5 inches or whatever your measurement is. That's just the guideline, that's what it should be about. And then on 2 of the strips, you're going to add a square F on each end. So just going to take 2 of those strips, add an F on each end. And the first thing you do then is you're going to add the strips without the squares on them to the left and the right, and then the 2 squares with the strips on them to the top and the bottom, and that'll be your center section. Alright, so here's the center section. You can tell I'm going to be adjusting the camera a little bit. I've mentioned before I'm pretty space challenged in my basement where I film, so I apologize for that. But here's that gorgeous center section. Wow, what a punch that packs. I love the way this is turning out. We're going to set that aside. The next thing we're going to do is join up, and this is step number 8, is join up a section 2A and a section 7A. And when it's joined together, it's going to look like that, and you're going to do that 2 times. So I'm going to do that right now. Again, just keeping with that 1/4 inch seam allowance. We're not changing anything like that. So again, 2A and 7A, 2 times. Alright, so here was step number 8, and this is where we join those 2 sections together. And then step number 9, we are joining a 4A to the left side. So that's a section 4A. And then to the right side, let me just consult my pattern, we are adding a section 8B. So you're going to have one long row that looks like this. Again, this would be 4A. Let me just confirm. 4A, and this is an 8B, and you're going to do this 2 times. So you're going to have 2 rows that are going to look like this. Alright, here's the section that we did in step number 10. We made 2 of these. I'm just going to show you one because of the space challenges I have. The next thing we're going to do is join sections 7B, 2B, 4B, and 3B in a row, and we're going to make 2 of them. I'm going to lay one out really quickly for you so you're going to see what it looks like, and then I'll get sewing. Alright, for step number 11, here's how they're going to be laid out, and then you're going to just join them together in 2 long rows, and again, 2 of them. This is section 7B, 2B, 4B, and 3B, and again, 2 times. So I'm going to go do that, and then the next part is putting it all together. How exciting is this getting? Alright, here are the 2 rows I did in section 11. And again, I've adjusted the camera again, and now I'm going to start laying this out, because now we're going to add these to that center section that I did before and put the outer row on. So I am going to just sort of probably fast forward through this section a little bit, but I'm going to lay this out the way it's going to look. Okay, so I think you can see it. I'm looking on my monitor. It's a little tight on the bottom, and hopefully when this is all sewn together, it'll come together a lot easier for you to see. Here's that center section I did. The top and the bottom, these sections are the step we did in step number 10. You're going to add those to the top and the bottom. Once those are sewn and pressed, you're going to add those last 2 long rows that I just did in section 11 to the left and the right. And then after that's all done, I'm going to show you what it looks like, and then we'll add those outside borders. Alrighty, it is all done except for the borders. So now we need to measure a little bit before we add them, because if you remember with the inner border that I did, they give you a little bit of wiggle room so you can make sure your strip is going to be long enough. So for the 2 sides, you're going to add the sides first, the left and the right side. You probably got these fabric D strips, depending on what color. Mine are these pretty pink. You want to measure, you're going to take the longer of the strips, and you're going to measure the vertical length, and it should be, it says about 56.5 inches. And this time I'll start it at the right number. And yes, it is 56.5 inches, so we are good. And then you're going to measure horizontally, and it should measure about 48.5 inches. Maybe I'm not reading that right. Let's see. Oh, I'm sorry. You measure that after you add those side borders. My goodness. I should know this by now. I've been quilting for 30 years. So first off, you're going to add those side borders. Then you're going to measure the center horizontally, and it should measure, when done, about 48.5 inches. And then you'll add the top and the bottom rows. So I'm going to do that now. Don't forget to cut your strips to the length you need when you measure. And again, you make sure to measure yours. Don't just go by their measurements. Ta-da! I can't believe it. I'm finished. 10 months later, I love the way this quilt turned out. This again is the small version of the So Sweet Cotton Cuts Puzzle Mystery Quilt. I chose the churro version. It's fabric designed by Sharon Holland for Art Gallery Fabrics. The line was called Bookish. absolutely beautiful. These mauves and beiges and browns and greens. I really love it. Again, this is a small version. I can't wait to see what the large version looks like. I am going to quilt this. They do provide the binding with it as well. This is great. I cannot recommend the Cotton Cuts Puzzle Mystery Quilts enough. Everything comes to you every month. All the pieces are perfectly cut. I had absolutely no problems putting this together. Everything is cut precisely. The measurements are right. The pattern is really well written. It shows you pressing directions, has great diagrams. I mean, everything you need is there. You just need to buy it. So again, what a great way to make a quilt, especially if you don't want to worry too much about pattern design or fabric design or anything like that. Sometimes it's nice just to have a piece or a quilt that maybe you don't have to think about quite as much as some of the other ones. This is definitely it, especially the cutting and that the fabric is already coming to you. You don't have any scraps left over, and well, I do love scrap quilts. I have to admit, I am a scrap quilter, and that's one of the reasons I love the look of this, but I also love having scraps left over. But sometimes it's nice. I mean, my scrap bins are, up to the ceiling right now. I hope you've had as much fun as I have making this quilt. If you post over on social media, Instagram or Facebook or anything, make sure to tag me, Create with Claudia. I'd love to see all the different colorways, large and small. I want to see what they all look like. It's so much fun seeing what quilts look like, any patterns, but especially these in the different colorways. I mean, I've been seeing parts of them. I just can't wait to see them all together. So here it is one more time. I'm probably just going to do some simple crosshatch quilting. And this was my Cotton Cuts So Sweet Puzzle Mystery Quilt. And I can't wait to do the next one. Actually, I am doing the next one. If you're doing if you're doing Piazza, I'm doing the Maggiore colorway, and I think over there we're on clue number 4. And that one I'm doing is all red, white, and blue. So totally different colors, and we'll see how it turns out. And of course, a totally different pattern too. Thank you so much for watching, and have a great day.